Hello, friends. It is coming up on 7:15. We are live streaming this newscast, and the California Democratic Convention wrapped up this weekend in Anaheim. And to help us break it all down is political analyst Steve Swatt. Steve, we've relied on your counsel many times here. So it wrapped up in Anaheim over the weekend. We had heard from Rich Eisen a little bit earlier in our newscast. He felt that the Democratic Party may need to move more towards the middle, away from social justice issues based on the recent election. What say you about that?
I would agree with that. And not only social justice, I think, but cultural issues, because they're getting killed on cultural issues. And what is so interesting, and I don't know whether Rich told you about this, but Capital Weekly did do a survey of Democrats not too long ago, and they asked them, what do you think of the party? And only 19% thought that the party was doing a good job in fighting back against Donald Trump. And when they asked people in one word, how would you describe the Democratic Party? And these are California Democrats. The words most used were ineffective, weak, and lost.
Well, let's say they change stuff up, right? California is such a heavily Democratic registered voter state. Right. You're always going to win for governor. Is this mostly affecting the down ticket people? Why would the party need to switch or shift to the center more? I can see the country, but California is kind of baked in Democrat.
Well, California, you're right, it is baked in Democrat, but I think the folks at the convention were really in a funk, I believe, because after the election. And look at what happened in California. I mean, there were a big drop-off in votes in the presidential race for Kamala Harris, a Californian. She did worse than Joe Biden did 4 years ago. Right. And so, and there were some Republican shifts in the legislature. And so I think they're looking at a trend that is not good, and they're trying to figure out a path forward. And that's why Tim Walz was kind of an interesting keynote speaker, really, at the convention, because
I wondered about that.
He's looking at the past, which wasn't very good for the Democrats.
Right.
But he is looking toward the future also. I mean, it's pretty obvious that he wants to run for president, being one of 10 or 12 Democrats.
Sure, if he does. And so he's at the California Democratic Convention, and Kamala Harris is not. And he's mostly associated in our state with running with Kamala Harris. That seems a little... Explain that.
Well, it's hard to explain. I mean, Tim Walz is still very, very much liked, but again, it's perception.
Yes.
And it's again, looking backwards at a failure last November. What is interesting is that Walz, and he talked about this on the campaign to some degree, but he's really stressing this now, how Democrats have to change their focus toward affordability and the working class. And they have to make sure that the public knows that when they put forward a program, it is to help the working people. Because look at what happened to the Obama coalition among young people, among blacks and Latinos. They dropped off dramatically. And in California, I'm not sure how many of the Democrats dropped off and voted for Trump, but they dropped off and didn't vote at all.
Isn't the Latino vote, if you could just say the Latino vote, that's very much up for grabs in this state? Should there be, was some of the focus on that is we don't want this to get too far away from us, meaning the Democrats? Yeah,
I think that's part of it. And also, I mean, Latino vote has been a mainstay, obviously, as has the African-American vote, and the young vote in California and elsewhere for Democrats. And so when you start to have that coalition fray, things can snowball. I do remember years and years ago when I was a political reporter, I'm going back decades now, but I was told by political consultants that the Latino vote on the natural sort of swings right. They're very pro-family, and that sort of fell in line with the Republican philosophy, and that it was always surprising to them that the Republicans didn't get more of the Latino vote. And then, of course, Pete Wilson and Proposition 187 came along, and that sort of changed everything when it was perceived that the Republicans didn't want the Latinos here.
A quick question here for you. Yes or no? Do you think Kamala Harris is going to run for governor?
I honestly don't know.
Honestly don't know.
And people, I'm not even sure if she knows, but if she is going to run for governor, she should have been at this event. Okay,
that's a fair point. And if she does not run, who do you see of the Democrats coming out?
Well, first of all, a number of, if she does not run, everyone stays in. And right now you've got 7 former or current or former office holders, and even a big businessman. I mean, there are 8 people that are out there. I'm kind of intrigued with Villaraigosa, Antonio Villaraigosa. Not saying he's going to win necessarily, but he is trying to find a lane.
Yes, he is.
He has said even if Kamala Harris stays in, he will continue, and he's trying to. His lane is affordability. Democrats have gone too far. They've made decisions in California that have affected, the pocketbooks, and he's trying to make that fight for him.
And the fact that he's Latino will not hurt him at all. No. Not at all. Former mayor of Los Angeles. He is 71 now, so not sure, going forward. All right, Steve Swatt, thank you. Folks, thank you for tuning in. We're going to go to this, right?